1, 2. Turn it up a little bit.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Checky, check. Hello. See, everybody get your attention. You don't have to stop talking. We're not starting yet. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Okay, my name is Jimmy Labello. I'm the pastor of this church right now, so I told them the only way they're going to be able to do this is that I get up and be able to introduce myself, talk to you guys a little bit, tell you what we're all about. This church right now is all about serving this community, so those of you that do not know that, know it now. We do our best to reach out to the community in different ways to try to serve this community. But the main thing we're about in all of the important things that you're going to talk about tonight and all the important things about feeding a bunch of people and all that we do here is we are about the people and their souls, right? You expect that, right? I'm a pastor. And that's what we're all about here. Our main focus, though we serve people in many ways, our main focus is to share the good news of Jesus Christ. Whether you agree or believe or not or whatever, that's what we do here. From the very beginning of time, there's been one God, a holy God, that we know as creator, right? And he was the God in all things. And because of our sinfulness as humans, though you may not think so, but we're all sinners from the very beginning, this awesome, amazing God, this creator God, 2,000 years ago, sent Jesus Christ to die on the cross for our sins. Okay? And the reason was that is he is a holy God, he's a righteous God, and we are not. That's the reason. Some of us here have a background. This is why Christ came, because of our sin separates us from a holy God. That is the greatest news in the world, because we're all not going to be sitting here forever. We are going to die, and we are going to go into eternity. And so the good news is that he took our place. He who knew no sin, Jesus Christ, was perfect. He died on the cross, took our place, and whoever believes in him, whoever turns from their sins and put their faith and trust in Jesus Christ, will be saved. You will be able to know him. Okay? Please, just if you do not know him like that, if you don't have a personal walk, reach out to him, because that's what it's all, that's why we're here, right? That's why we're here. So I just wanted to share that good news with you, because that's the most awesome news. It's great to go to heaven, not hell. That's the greatest news of all time. So put your faith, even if you say, that crazy, I didn't come here for this. Sorry. I got to go with what I got. You know what I'm saying? This is why I live, and this is why this church exists. But we will serve no matter what. We will serve to the best of our ability this community, because we do want them to see Jesus Christ as well. So I want to pray for the meeting, and then you guys can have at it, all right? Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we do thank you and praise you for this time together. This is not by chance. It's not just a meeting just thrown together to talk about important issues. You have had this happen. You knew this was going to happen. So, Lord, tonight, just pray again for anyone in here and those in here tonight that has never even heard of you or do not know that you're saving grace through Jesus Christ, that they can reach out to you. They can pray to you, turn from their sin, and put their faith and trust in Jesus Christ. We pray that everything goes well tonight. Everything that's talked about, it will go well, and we just thank you so much that we can come together as a community. In Jesus' name, amen.
Good evening, everybody. Reverend Jimmy, thank you so very much for the kind prayer for opening up your home, God's home, your church to us today. And I just appreciate that everybody is here this evening. When the Moores reached out with some questions they had about issues in your neighborhood, I thought, well, what a great opportunity to put together a town hall. And I'm just so thrilled to see so many people here. And we've got our firefighters here as well. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate that. So if you got an agenda, they're in the back. There's also booklets about our county in the back. Please take one. Briefly, what we are going to do tonight is talk about everything in your community. We are going to have John Allen, who is our Director of Parks and Rec, speak about the parks and updates. We are going to have Judith Clark, who is our Director of Engineering and Roads, speak about the Resiliency Grant. We are going to have our Sheriff's Department. Thank you so much, Sheriff Ramsey and Captain Smith, for being here. They are going to be talking to us about issues that you all have presented to us regarding parking of vehicles, abandoned vehicles, speeders, all that good stuff. Illegal dumping, we have, again, the Sheriff's Department will be here to help address that, as well as Cheryl Sullivan, who is our Director of Solid Waste Management. We also have Greg Sullivan, who is the Director of Waste Management, which is our private company that we do business with. The Sullivans are not related to each other. They have the same last name and they like trash. We are also going to have Ms. Clark talk about the sidewalk discussion. That is a topic of interest in the neighborhood. And then I'm going to briefly talk about ROGOs and what the state has given us as a challenge for the next 9 months. So again, I am just so absolutely thrilled that everyone's here. And I do want Christy Moore just to stand up really quick. And yeah, you are. And because this was your wonderful idea, and just want you to say a few words, and then we'll have John Allen. And we will end at the very end with questions.
Well, she covered most of, I wanted to say thank you that everyone took the time out of their busy schedules to come out. It means a lot to our community, so thank you. And Michelle, she's been a pleasure and so communicative that we are looking forward to see with our community of what you can do to help us. So, and thank you for everyone out in the crowds that taking their time to be here with us also. That's it, not a public speaker.
That's perfect. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Jen Garcia is my executive aide, and I'm sure more of you all have had excellent conversations and contact with her. Her daughter is a high school student at Marathon High School on the softball team. They are up in Miami this evening for a playoff softball game. So obviously Jen is with her daughter because that's a super priority. And with that, we are going to have John Allen come up and give some updates on the park.
All right, thank you. As you said, I'm John Allen. I'm the Parks and Beaches Director. Been here about 3 years now. And I just kind of wanted to update you on the parks here and then kind of some adjacent parks and just kind of let you know what we've done and where we're going in the future. The fire department, volunteer fire department park right here. I know you've noticed some changes there. We removed all the old bocce courts that were there and the old horseshoe pit that was there, and we replaced it with a nice fitness equipment that I actually have used multiple times. I love it. And we put some concrete cornhole out there that and some cornhole bags that for the community to use. We also removed, if you notice, the basketball court at one time had some fencing behind the backboards. We removed those for safety because as you make a layup, you ran into the fence. So we removed that so the kids, when they play basketball and make a layup, they actually have some space to go. And I think one of the community members called me one time about that fence, because her daughter plays lacrosse, and when she threw against the handball court, she wanted the fence to kind of protect the balls from going in the basketball court. So if you notice, we added that little fence there back because one of your community members asked for that. So to practice lacrosse, which is a great sport. So in the future too, currently too, we painted some of the tables. You know, some of those sleep inhibitors we put up there, just kind of, eliminate some people that were sleeping out there. So we did put those out there. And in the future, we're looking to, we got to add some new signage to replace some of the signage that's out there. We're going to add additional cornholes so you can actually play a little bit more games. And we need to resurface the basketball court in the near future, not next year, but down the road we will do that and repaint it. Wilhelmina Harvey, if you notice, we replaced the sand under the playground with some rubberized surface, which is safer. It's also accessible and cleaner, so your kid don't come home with sand in their shoes. We tried to do that up and down the keys, but that was one we did. The shade structure got damaged during the hurricane. We kind of put that up and replaced that. Recently, if you notice, the edging on the curbing, when they put that rubber, it was all like this. So we kind of asked them to redo that, make a cleaner line for us. So hopefully you've noticed that. I've met with the community out there. There's a bunch of community members that play kickball out there. Right there. There we go, the kickball player. And they asked in the future potentially about putting a beach volleyball court and lights. And one thing at a time. So, the beach volleyball court, I love that idea. If that's something the community is interested in, please, let me know that. And
Our swing set is never used, and that's why it was kind of.
I I think it's a great idea. So something we can look at in the future as long as the, retirement community is on board. It's great. Beach volleyball is a great sport. My daughter plays volleyball, so I love it. So that's something we can definitely look into. Some other things we need to do in the future there is the walking trail. As you know, it's kind of around some roots. It's kind of uprooted. We have that issue at some other parks as well. So we're looking at that down the road. And the sign, every time I go by there, there's a sign missing. We're going to put a new sign in there, welcome, and have some things there. So that you'll see that in the near future. Gulfview boat ramp. We replaced the fence recently. We put some new signage out there. We put boat trailer parking only, which not everybody pays attention to, but we do put that out there just to have that. Going back to Wilhelmina one time, Harvey Park, is we do ask the community, because there's parking is limited around that park. And we do have people that do park there and don't move their vehicles up and down the road, where I couldn't even park there the other day at like 3 o'clock. So we do ask if you do, at least move it during the daytime for us. And I know Sheriff might be talking about that later, but we do need access to the park, and they do keep the cars there all the time. So we don't want to have to do anything, but while I'm here, I thought I'd ask at least to move the cars during the day so people can park there to utilize the park. Other parks down the road, Bay Point Park, if you do use it, one thing, we do have an engineer looking at that. It is flooded all the time, as you know. We're looking to do upgrades there, but we have an engineer looking at it. Once he gives us his feedback back, then we'll look at what we can do to kind of get that park better and usable, more user-friendly. Bernstein Park, if you play sports or any kids that play sports there, we've been wanting to redo that field for a long time. Hopefully within the next year it'll be brought up, new irrigation, new drainage, better sod to accommodate all the kids that do play there and the adults, and that's in the process hopefully next year. And Higgs, if you go down to Higgs Beach, we just recently from the Hurricane Ian damage repaired the courts. The playground is next. We started that, and then something happened, and they're going to get back out there. They got to remake some parts, and they're going to go back out there to do that. And there's a lot of other hurricane repairs that are going to happen down the road too. So that was kind of a quick overview. I love the parks here. Like I said, I did come out and watch kickball. It was awesome to watch, and I was going to join, but I don't know. I didn't play that day, but I will play another day if you're out there again. So.
I will say we had to push it to, we were moving it to Bernstein because of the time change. It goes down and
Right.
lights.
Exactly. Lights. Here's lights again. Yeah. Well, I think we're going to get questions at the end. So if you have any questions, please. I did leave a couple things in the back. If you kind of look, one thing, we do have summer camp opportunities here at Big Pine and Bernstein. So I did leave a flyer back there with the dates and all that. And then I also left this little flyer that has all kinds of stuff on here. But it gives an email if you have any ideas of what you want in the parks or what you want in the community. Please email us. We love ideas, the beach volleyball and lights. But we do love ideas, so please send them to me because we are, they are your parks, and we want to make it best for everybody in the community. So with that, I look forward to your questions afterwards. Do I invite the next person?
If anyone has a question.
Oh, okay. So, does anybody have a question while I'm here about parks and beaches? We had that brought up to us at another time we looked at. It is something we can look at. Bathrooms are.
That was highly talked about on the Facebook page too.
Bathrooms?
Issue, yeah.
Okay. It is something, we got County Administrator Kevin Wilson right here, so we can, sorry, I'm throwing you out there. No, it's something we definitely look at. We were at another park meeting down the road at Bay Point, and they suggested that as well. So something that's needed, and we'll look into it.
Yes, sir.
Two questions on Wilhelmina Park. The gate locks, they're always busted. Those are the plastic ones?
Yes.
Somebody put a metal one there, it seems to be lasting a little longer. Also, that one tree stump by the pumping station there, there's some very deep holes underneath that tree stump that people can put their foot through. I mean, something's living underneath there, maybe you guys want to chop that tree stump out.
I got you.
Just to have it.
Right. No, I'll take care of that. We did replace, I think, those locks recently. My staff called me and said, hey, can we put the metal ones on there? I said, absolutely. Yeah, they weren't holding in there, so we did do that. But yeah, I'll look at that stump. I'll talk to my staff tomorrow about that. Okay. Yes. Yes. We were having issues with that, and we talked about getting a new one. So absolutely. Yep. All right. Oh, sorry. Oh.
Did you say you wanted to resod Bernstein?
We are going to resod Bernstein, yes. Yes, yeah.
Recently done in the past couple of years.
It was about how long? 7 years ago? Yeah. So it's time again. Yeah. Yeah, it's more about the flooding and stuff there. We kind of got to fix that. We've got to bring it up a little bit and do some other stuff to it, so, yeah. All righty, thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't know that I introduced Kevin Wilson. He is our acting administrator of the county, and he had hip replacement surgery last week. And I love the fact that he loves our community so much that he's here tonight because this is so important. So thank you, Kevin. Did I introduce you, Cynthia McPherson? I'm sorry. Gosh, I'm going to get an F for introducing people correctly. Cynthia McPherson's here as well. She is our Director of Code Compliance. So I think we're well-rounded with everyone we have, including Kristen Livengood, who is our Public Information Officer, who's also here. So next up, we have Judy Clark, who is going to start off by talking about the resiliency grant for this area.
Yes, you are significantly taller than I am. There we go, perfect. Hi, I'm Judy Clark. I'm the Director of Engineering. I'm responsible for roads and bridges and stormwater in the county. And I'm here to talk about our Big Coppitt Sea Level Rise Road Adaptation Project. We've just now started it. We just issued an RFQ for design services, so we're right at the very beginning. And it's a great time to give you guys an update. So there's a PowerPoint. I hope you guys can read it from the back. It's a little small, sorry. A little background. Some of you may know over the past couple of years, the county has undertaken a roads sea level rise vulnerability assessment. We looked at all of our county roads, looked at sea level rise and king tide projections out a number of years so that we could predict water surface elevations into the future using very good elevation data that we've got for our county roads. We could then predict when we expect to see impacts from sea level rise, plan some projects, look at adaptation strategies. We've developed some conceptual designs and a planning level cost estimate. We had a bunch of public meetings. Some of this may be repeat information to you, but if not, all of the information is on a website. It's www.keysroadsplan.com. You can all access that. It's got a lot of the elevation data, some information on the project. It's got the conceptual plans, and the Big Coppitt area is area number 52. So if you go on and click on the conceptual design plans, you'll be able to check that out. So with that, we are going to start the project. Next slide. This is the project area, the Big Coppitt project. It's from First Street west over to Riviera Drive. The project itself includes, in general, elevating portions of the road that are low, and then constructing an engineered stormwater system to replace the passive gravity drainage that we've been using. When people talk about sea level rise impacts, they think about water rushing over the road and flooding it. But in addition to that, all of our groundwater is tidally influenced. So even if you don't see water on the road surface, as that groundwater comes up, we lose our ability to drain by gravity. You get water ponding after every rainstorm, and it just doesn't go anywhere. So what we need to do with this project is construct an engineered stormwater system that has inlet structures, piping, pipe to a pump station, a treatment unit, and then it'll be disposed of in injection wells with pressure from the pump station. It's a big project. It's an expensive project. The design and construction has a total cost estimate of about $88 million. The good news is we have 2 grants to fund the project. One is from the Resilient Florida Grant Fund. That's a state grant program. It's managed by Florida Department of Environmental Protection. We have a second grant, federal funds, through the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. Both of those grant agreements were executed and approved by the board in January. And as I said, we're just now starting. We've advertised the request for qualifications to get a design consultant on board to go through the formal final design and permitting process. So next slide. You can see on the left of the screen, that's a screenshot of the conceptual plans. You can see all of the plans if you go on the website. Some portions of the roads will need to be elevated. There's a minimum elevation that we need to raise the roads to, 2.26 feet NAVD, that's a datum. A lot of the roads are higher than that, but some portions are lower, so they'll be raised up. And then we will fix the drainage, we'll do the stormwater system. The roads that are going to be elevated, some of it will be a couple of inches, and I think the most in this project, the lowest area will be elevated about a foot and a third, foot and a quarter. So, you know, they'll come up, not drastically, but in some areas it'll be significant. And then we will do the design for the stormwater system. Part of the process will be getting permits. We need to get a permit from South Florida Water Management District. We design the stormwater system, we model it so that we can size it properly. So the design, once we have a consultant on board, will be 18 to 24 months. Next slide. This last slide, this is what we call a typical section of, for the road. It shows a cross-section of the roadway. Looks basically the same as it looks now, but what we've added on both sides are concrete valley gutters. Those will collect the water, the stormwater, and direct it to the stormwater system. But what I really wanted to show here, and I don't mean to jump my space on the agenda, but you'll see, or hopefully you can see, on both sides of that, outside of the roadway and the valley gutters, is a sort of a 5-foot stabilized area. They don't show sidewalks there because there aren't sidewalks now out on Big Coppitt, but there is space outside of the roadway to evaluate putting in sidewalks, and I know that has been a request. So as part of this project, it's a perfect time to do that. So, you know, I don't know if we want to discuss that further now, or if there's... You might as well. Yeah, well, I have the, I have all of the different, the things everyone signed. I know there's a bunch of roads where we want to look at doing that. It makes sense. We do that as part of road projects in general. We did that a few years ago out on Stock Island as we did road projects out there. It's in our comp plan, the county's comprehensive plan, to, you know, look at when we upgrade our transportation infrastructure, make sure we're serving all users. So we add bike lanes in some places, sidewalks where it's appropriate. We added sidewalks to the park on Bernstein Park as we were doing that. So that's definitely something that we can include in this. So, yeah. Are there any questions? Sure.
Back to the plan you showed.
Sure.
I'm on like one of the 2 roads that is not included in that plan.
Well, you're lucky because your road's high.
I feel like if you build all of it, we're right in the middle. I'm talking Luna and Montana.
Okay.
So if you're elevating all around and you're not doing anything there, aren't we going to kind of get everybody else's backwash and then now have a problem?
No. No, because and I should say, like I said, when you can't see from the plan, and it will all be fleshed out in final design, but some of the roads that are being elevated, it's just a little bit. You're lucky your roads are high, but as we elevate them, we have to manage the stormwater. So we're not allowed to push the water somewhere else. And I would also say your road that isn't highlighted, we will be evaluating that further. So if it looks like we need it, then we will, because we definitely want to make sure. You feel left out.
I feel like where we don't have a problem now, when everybody else gets level, we're going to have a problem.
Yeah, no, it will not cause you water to flow back onto your road. I won't do that. Yes, we aren't going to be creating that great a differential. The plan is to keep everything in the road where it is, but, you know, direct it. No. And, you know, as we go through, like I said, the design and permitting, 18 to 24 months, depending on how quickly it goes. We'll need to find a site for a pump station, through the permitting process. That can take some time, but, you know, we'll be coming back out and updating you guys on this. It's not the last time you're going to see me, so, yes?
Where are you proposing to put the pump station? Is it going to affect somebody's home?
No. We will try to find an area where we try not to put it in front of someone's house, right on the right-of-way, that sort of thing. We have not chosen a location for it yet. That will be developed during final design.
Like inside of the neighborhood or outside of the neighborhood? 'Cause the neighborhood, like anywhere you put it on any of those roads, it's going to impact somebody's home.
Yes, understood. It will depend on the hydraulics of the system as it's designed. So, you know, we will find a location, but we do take that into consideration. It will be near the neighborhood, though. There is no getting around it.
I'm mostly concerned, like, I live down Riviera Drive. I'm at the end over there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was told at one point that they were considering putting a pump station down there. So I just want to know if that's true.
Not for this project. That hasn't been, I'm not sure if that was back in wastewater days. I don't know. No decisions made on this. We have just advertised to get a design consultant to start the design. So no decisions like that have been made yet. Yes.
I live on the other street over here in Elfrest, that on the computer, it looks like it's not gonna be raised, Santana and Luna. And, are they gonna tear those up to put sewers in them, or just leave them alone?
To the stormwater system, we will evaluate that. At this point, it didn't look like they needed it in the conceptual design, but that was a very basic overview. So it'll be during the final design, we will analyze that. And we'll, if we put the collection system, if it gets extended onto those roads, then they will have to dig it up, and then it'll be resurfaced. You know, it'll be paved over. We won't leave it all ripped up.
Director Clark, will this in any way affect our water quality in our canals? Because we're already somewhat compromised as far as the health of our canals and our water flow. There's no culverts, it's also blocked under the bridge.
No, it won't impact your water quality. We're not draining anything into the canals. The injection wells, the water will be treated, and it'll be disposed of down injection wells. They're 100 feet deep. The storm will be treated, you know, so it'll be actually better than it is now. You know, now it runs off where it does.
That's similar to what's in Key West somewhat in some of the neighborhoods. I guess they have.
Yeah, they have some, I think they have gravity injection wells. I don't know that they're pressurized, but yes, very similar. That's how they have managed some of their stormwater. Yes.
We've had a number of water main breaks in the neighborhood, and I understand that water pipes need to be replaced all up and down the keys, and it's a huge project. Is that gonna be coordinated at the same?
We absolutely. I have already talked to the Aqueduct Authority. We try to coordinate our work so we only torture you once, ripping up the roads. So that is something I've already talked to them. I've given them our basic timeline. So we work very closely together. We're actually starting a project up in Key Largo, and they are replacing water lines on the streets at the same time so that can all be done at once. We don't want to have to rip up the roads twice. Yes.
With regard to all of it, the water pumping stations, the lifting of the raising of the roads, and as well as the sidewalk conversations, I'm sure will continue. Will we be notified in specific areas? I know we're a small community, but there's different subsets. Is that going to impact, like, if it will impact pump stations right next to me, or if that sidewalk is going in front of my house? Like, will be another community meeting?
We'll have meetings, yes, and we'll let people know. Yes, absolutely. Excellent. Oh, yes?
So the sidewalks, this project seems pretty far downrange. Does the sidewalk project have to go in with this project, or can it be something separate?
It could be something separate, but it would be something, if we did it ahead of time, we would have to rip it out. So it would be better to only pay for it once. Yes?
Out of the 514 parcels that you're talking about here, if you notice Barcelona, it impacts about 200-something residents back there. So we're talking maybe 400 cars going in and out, and there's only one way in and one way out of Barcelona. Are they going to make a different road, a temporary road for people to get in and out?
Now, what we usually do, and we have that problem in all of our neighborhoods when we do any kind of road work, bridges as well. We do one lane at a time, and you know, sometimes you'll have flaggers that alternate traffic. So it's inconvenient. I'm not even going to pretend it isn't, but it's, you know, it's a necessity when you only have one way in and out. But yes, we do our best. Again, it will always be open. You know, you will always be able to get back and forth. You may have to wait a little bit as the traffic alternates. Yes, way in the back.
Hey Judy, great presentation, thank you. Different subject. Do street signs fall under you?
Yes, they do.
Could we get the one on US 1 that says welcome to Big Coppitt changed? Because that Big Coppitt spelled wrong. It has for decades.
I'm not sure that's my sign. We do street signs and that sort of thing in my department. I don't know if that was a neighborhood sign that was put up under a permit. I can check into it. We'll check into it. Excellent. Thank you.
I appreciate everyone's great questions. And Judy, you answered the one I was going to ask, which was, are we going to have to wait for the sidewalks until this project goes? So unfortunately, it sounds like we probably will be, which will still be a few more years. However, with that said, one of the reasons I believe you all brought it to my attention that you all desired sidewalks was so it was safer for your children to get to the parks and walking because of your concerns with the right-of-way. So how's that for a great segue into right-of-way, parking of vehicles, abandoned vehicles, and safety? Sheriff Ramsey, do you want to start out and have Cynthia McPherson, our code compliance, be up there with you, and you two can bounce back and forth?
All right, I'll start off here. We'll see. Parking is always an issue, especially smaller residential neighborhoods, people with a lot of cars, trucks, trailers, extra vehicles, trying to park on right-of-ways. Generally, you're allowed to park on the right-of-way unless otherwise indicated. So, and we also talk here about abandoned cars. So I've been approached about abandoned cars, illegally parked, and parking on right-of-way. So they can park on the right-of-way unless the county determines otherwise and gives some restrictions, whether it be no overnight 24-hour parking or no long-term parking, no a lot of time people park in trailers or motorhomes, other stuff that just is they don't want in their driveway, so they park it there for long-term parking. So if we get direction from the county on parking and signs have to be erected, whether it be no parking, limited parking, no long-term parking, whatever it is, we'll enforce that. Abandoned cars, we have to determine whether they're truly abandoned or whether they're being long-term parked. Reality is most are probably being long-term parked. Someone in the neighborhood owns it. So if we find a vehicle which is abandoned, you can call us. We'll come out and look at it. We'll check the tag, run the VIN number, try to find who owns it, see if it's someone close by, to see if we think it's truly abandoned. We'll look for signs of expired tags, look and sign for the car, looks like it's just been left there for long periods of time. If we think it's abandoned, then we'll put what's called a 5-day notice. We'll cite it with a 5-day notice. After 5 days, if no one touches it, moves it, we'll just tow it. If they complain, then we'll deal with it later on. But we can't 5-day notice cars which are residentially parked or have a valid tag and are parked by a neighbor unless the county says they can't park it there. So we have to work in conjunction with the sheriff's office, with the county, what their wishes are, and whatever their wishes are, they have to put the proper signage, and based on that, we take the proper action. But again, majority of these cars are probably going to be your neighbors who are just parking, don't want to keep it in their driveway, an old van, an old motorhome, a boat trailer, not uncommon on these situations. So just let us know, call us, we'll come out and check it. If we can take care of it, we'll. Sometimes we get a hold of the owner, ask why it's there, and ask them to move it. Sometimes they will, sometimes they tell us, too bad, it's on a right-of-way, I can park anywhere I want. And they're relatively correct unless otherwise indicated. So if there's particular cases, let us know. With me is also my area captain, David Smith. You can call him or stop by the station or call up one of our units. We'll come out and try to see if we can rectify the problem. So before we move on to legal dumping, any questions on parking, ma'am?
If the vehicle is considered legally parked, however, is possibly being inhabited, are they allowed to keep the vehicle parked there if they're possibly living in the vehicle?
Well, technically, yes. It's a public right-of-way unless the county dictates restrictions. You know, there's no restrictions on who's parking a car, boat, trailer, you know, what they're doing in the car. So these are difficult areas a lot with parking. We get a lot of these type of questions about living in cars long-term, blocking entrances, limited parking, taking up all the neighborhood parking. Sometimes you got someone's got 10 cars, 2 boats, trailer, or motorhome, parking everywhere. And they don't care about the rest of the neighbors. It becomes inconvenience. We're just tough that unless there's clear guidelines, you know, what our authority is. You know, this is a county-owned property, and generally throughout the county, public right-of-ways are used by so many residents who just don't have the ample parking. But sometimes become a nuisance where the county has to take your consideration, your input, our input for public safety, hazards that may exist, and make determinations on what restrictions they do or don't want. And based on restrictions that they ask us to enforce, we'll get the county to put up proper signage. We just did this on Front Street, working with Judy here on an issue there for long-term parking on Front Street on the Hogfish. They had cars were just being used there forever parking. It was turning to a dumping situation. As Ms. Cheryl Sullivan knows, we were dealing with a lot of dumping cases out there because it was hard to see and also the vehicles were hanging on the road, so when you went by, you're having to veer in oncoming lanes. So I did ask the county commission, I talked to Director Clark, Director Sullivan about this issue, and we just last week got the BOCC. Thank you for approving the signage. We had the signs put up by our great friends at Public Works. We were able to then come back and do maintenance, cut those trees back, put in some 57 rock, make it look nice, clear those cars out. So some of the stuff does take a little time. There's a lot involved, a lot of players who have certain levels of authority, but again, whatever your wishes are that are backed by the county commission, our job is to enforce laws, not create them. So if the laws are on the books or the signs are up with certain restrictions, we will do our job to enforce those. But absence of signage indicating X, Y, or Z, then they're not technically violating anything because there's no municipal ordinance which saying they can or can't do something. Sir.
Parking in the road or hanging halfway in the road.
Okay, no problem. If there's a vehicle that's hanging in the road, parking in the road, call us. That's a traffic obstruction, a safety matter. That takes precedent. We're going to come out. We're going to try to identify the owner. We're going to seek compliance to get the car off the road safely. If we can't identify the owner and get the car off the road, then we'll have it towed for safety of our kids and children and motorists and people who are walking, running, jogging. So their answer there, if it's on the road, call us. We will take care of it either through a voluntary compliance or involuntary compliance, whatever it takes to keep your community safe. Yeah, don't call 911. That's just, yeah. Yeah, I'd rather you didn't, but just call the 911 number for emergencies. Otherwise, call our station. You can call right to the Cudjoe Key Patrol Station. You know, call our dispatch center, and we'll get someone out there right away and deal with it. All of those numbers are listed in that book. That's right. Great. Thank you. Our public information here.
But this is a continuous problem. You guys come out and this guy just keeps doing it. I mean, 'cause there's like 2 or 3 houses down Barcelona.
That's no problem. Look, we'll come out and deal with it, and we'll talk to them and try to get compliance. But if we have repeat offenders, then we'll start citing them. You know, you're not allowed to park a vehicle on a roadway. That's a violation of state law. So if they continue to not comply with our request and trying to seek voluntary compliance, again, we move to involuntary compliance. We'll start with either citing and ordering to move it. If we cite it, they don't move it, then I'll tow it. And we'll have progressive discipline. You know, we seek compliance. I mean, in absence of that, we will get compliance.
Is there any possible way to maybe have one of the sheriffs maybe do a drive-by a couple times a week, maybe after 5, and kind of just...
Okay. How about how about this? When we get done, before you leave, contact Captain Smith here. Let him know the particular locations. We want to be real specific. You know, no. Yeah, thank you. You talk about this person who's doing auto mechanics, so we can narrow it down. While we want to do general patrols, but we want to focus our patrols on this particular issue where the exact problem's occurring, not just arrive everybody's house. So let's be focused on problem solving, identify us more clearly, and tell him, when are we seeing it? Is it after 5? Is there a certain day of the week do you see a worse time? Is there a certain time of night so we can show up there when something's occurring? Because a lot of times these things are based on day of the week, time. We may show up, there's nothing there. We say, there's not a problem. You say, we should have been here after 5 o'clock. We said, well, you should have told me. So how about tell us, just get with the captain, give us the best date and time you think it's occurring. We'll try to do what's called extra patrol, directed patrols, and try to be proactive, as well as if not that, and they're off time, we're not doing a patrol. If you see it, just pick the phone and call us. You don't have to leave your name. We're not going to try to dime you out, but you may tell us, hey, look, it's right there right now. We'll try to get his own car out there in between other calls to try to, we want to catch the person doing it so we can talk to them in correct behavior and make sure they know what the law is, and if they continue to violate law, we have remedies for that too. Ma'am.
So down the long run, when and if we do get these sidewalks up, pertaining to both of us and look back and forth, does it come with signage that says don't park here?
Well, once you have a sidewalk, you can't park on it.
Okay, so that then becomes the sheriff's department?
Yes.
If someone
It
does
is.
park there.
If it's on a block, just like blocking a road, you know, this is the means of transportation, whether it be foot or bicycle, that's the means. So just like on a road, if you're blocking the road, we can tow the car. If you're blocking a bike path, we can tow it. So we don't need special signage or permission from the county. Our goal is to keep transportation modes of car, vehicle, bicycle, pedestrian open for everybody to use safely. Young lady.
This might have been more a question for Judy, but,
Okay.
you know, on the weekends, the whole right-of-way is filled with cars and boat trailers. So if sidewalks go in, is the county gonna do something as far as where people can park to use the boat ramp? Because there obviously is not enough parking at the ramp.
I do not have a solution to not enough space. Quite honestly, I could offload on a John Allen for the, but that is a problem. And it is a trade-off. If we have sidewalks so that there's safe space for people, pedestrians, that will not be available for parking. I don't know where in the neighborhood there's additional space.
The service road is blocked off with giant rocks right now.
Right, but that's private property. So we can't say go park there because it's not county property, so, or public right-of-way. That is private property, so it would be great if they,
Between sidewalks and boat parking, trailer parking.
well, I'm not going to make that decision. No, I mean, you know, the shoulder of the road, if sidewalks are needed, we put sidewalks in. You know.
The 33 acres that are back here behind this road, those 33 acres is owned by the state. Would they be able to do something with the county and get involved to see if they can make parking there?
I can check. I don't know, when you say 33 acres, is that the,
Right across the street, if you look out.
but it's a wetland area, I think, so I don't know that it would be, you know, something that could be used for parking.
It is not dry, they're not going to backfill wetlands.
Yeah, oh, no, they would not backfill it. If it were, you know, that access road that he was talking about, I know where that is, and that would be great, but like I said, that's private property, so, you know, it would need to be suitable land before it could even be.
You know, so unfortunately, these always bring other problems. We talk about parking because it's like you move the cars, they got to go somewhere. Mostly the cars in neighborhoods are your neighbors, you know, or even boat trailers. A lot of the time there's locals are launching, so you try to fix one problem and create another problem. And a lot of times the cities and counties have made boat ramps a launch and recovery only, like Key Haven and Shark Key, because we had so many problems that people couldn't use the boat ramps because they were so blocked by trucks and trailers you couldn't get in there that we had the state turn them into launch and recovery only. So it's always tough. You know, you want to be able to launch and just go on the boat, come back and have your truck and trailer there, but sometimes it may not be as easy as that. And there are all these conflicts of whether you take that space for sidewalks which are needed for our kids and community, or whether you leave it for trailers and boats, and that's not for the sheriff's office, obviously, that's for us to deal with, but these are difficult. And like we say, back with wetlands, you're never going to get the state to let you backfill DEP wetlands for trailers unless it was dry area above flood. Even then, there'd be some issues about what the zoning is, what it's used for, is it environmental, is there liability. But again, if you find some dry land that you think then maybe you can talk to your commissioner and the rest of the staff. We all want to try to help you. So, young lady?
I apologize for my secondary question. I am the lovely living on Avenue F, the only straightaway in Big Coppitt, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted you to hear this, and I'd also, to your comment about the signage, because we don't have sidewalks, and there is a bus stop literally in front of this church every single morning, filled with children as well as over on Shore. The speed, when you're here, it's amazing, because I can see there's a car right beside my house. It's great, you're able to control the speed, but this is like a speedway, 115 cars an hour on average.
No fly past the bus.
Yep, they don't stop.
Signs out, they go right around.
Right. You know, what we find, unfortunately, is in neighborhoods when we get speeding complaints, the worst offenders are the residents who live there. And it's the same cars, because they use that road 15 times a day. They know every single pothole. They know every inch of that road. So the worst offenders are the people that complain about the speeders. We come out and we go out and once in a while write some tickets. They say, we called you. I say, yeah, we're here. Sign here, please. But, you know, so again, but you have to get back with the county to see what measures they may have. They may decide, talk about whether they want to put a speed bump in. Maybe there's a electronic sign which flashes when your speed's going above 25 and it gets over, it flashes, it gets your attention. So there are some options. But again, the sheriff's office, we'd like to be there much as we can. But probably wouldn't be surprised. The biggest complaint the sheriff's office gets is traffic and speeding, not only US 1, but in neighborhoods, because everyone's got those few people in neighborhoods that drive you crazy. They want to see how fast they can get from point A to point B. So if you're having a particular problem with a particular person, especially, again, try to let Sergeant Mueller or Captain Smith give us a better time that you're seeing it and window, whether it be morning, afternoon. More specific, is it 7:30 to 8:30 when people are going to work? Is it 5 to 5:30 people are coming home? Give us a better window. We'll try to have some extra patrol, but the problem is, hate to say it, we just can't be there every day. We put enforcement, we're out there, write a few tickets, things calm down for a while, then we're gone, and people pick back up. So it's not blowing it off, but it's really difficult. And we have thousands of streets in this county, and thousands of those same streets have the same issues about those neighbors who want to see how fast they get to US 1. But there are potential options at Public Works. You know, Judy and some other people could talk about, the county administrator options, whether it be electronic sign, which when they flash do help, or whether it be a speed bump, as well as an interim directive enforcement, presence, visibility from the sheriff's office, the best we can. So again, before my team members leave, let them know best date, time, location we're seeing it, and we'll see what we can do to try to help and mitigate it anyway. Ma'am.
I'm not sure who the proper person is to ask, because I've asked for years, and that's why I moved.
Judy Clark.
Each got an option, because I was told no way. So now he's saying it, and now it's a little.
The county's current policy, it has been for a while, is we do not install speed humps on county roads. You know, you love them, you hate them. They're very, they're somewhat controversial. People put them in some communities, and they immediately want them taken out. So it's not something that the county has done. There are pros and cons to them. They slow down emergency vehicles. They will slow down traffic that's traveling a certain speed, you know, maybe 5 miles over the speed limit. The people that are flying, you know, 50 miles an hour, they're going to go right over the speed hump. We don't do bumps. They don't install bumps anymore. They are more flat speed humps or speed tables. And they'll slow down some people, but the worst offenders, they don't even tap their brakes. So, you know, we have seen limited effectiveness with those. So the county's current policy is they don't install them. That can be revisited, but typically they slow down right at the speed bump and then they keep going. You know, I actually watch this. My parents have one in front of their house at home, and I can sit and watch all day long. People come flying down the road, hit the brakes, go over it, speed right back up. So, you know.
And then we find is dealing with speed bumps, we've dealt with them in the city of Marathon. A third of the people want them in the neighborhood, 30 people don't want them, 30 people not sure. So you put them up, then you have a cry back from a lot of people who don't want them either. So it's difficult and challenging, but for much as we can do at this point in time is what we said, just give us date, time, location, the best we're seeing it. We'll try to have some extra patrol as well. Maybe while we're looking for your people parking on the road, we do some other stuff. Try to particular give us information if you know a particular person or car that we're seeing. It's a white Chevy Silverado that's down the street that's the worst offender, that we have a better idea, and we'll try to see if we can do some directive enforcement. So.
She had talked about people living in their cars. Isn't there a policy in Monroe County where there's no camping on the side of the roads?
There is a camping ordinance.
So why can't that be enforced here as camping?
We're not saying it can't. We'd have to know they're living in a car and determine it meets the criteria. If there is, we could enforce the no camping law. We do that a lot on US 1 on the side of the road or by the bridges. A lot of people want to pull the campers and camp by the bridges. We have to tell them to move on. So again, just let us know what's going on, and if there's a particular car or person or what you know, we'll come out, we'll assess it, and we'll have to make a determination whether he thinks it meets the criteria. If it does, we'll warn them first. We're always trying to seek compliance. Our goal is not to arrest people or to take their birthday away. We want people to comply and know what the laws, rules, and regulations are, and we hope that they comply. If they don't, then we move to the next level of what we need to do to get compliance. Okay, I think if there's nothing that, we're going to move to illegal dumping. That's on our issue number 4? Yes. So we could talk about that. I know I talked with the captain. I've asked him to do some research in our databases, see what we're seeing for calls for service. We see no calls for service in the year 2024 illegal dumping. We see 1 call for service in the year 2023 for illegal dumping. I know we do a lot of proactive stuff. We have our Better, Cleaner, Safer Street initiatives where we focus on trying to be proactive, pick up trash. We go out so much with Cheryl Sullivan to pick up trash, whether it be something we see on our own. So is there apparently an issue with illegal dumping that maybe we're not aware of?
Yeah, I think we take care of it on our end of getting it cleaned up.
Okay.
Rather than calling the sheriff's department.
And what we see too, I hate to say bash on your neighbors, but again, a neighborhood like this, if we see dumping, it's most likely going to be a neighbor 1, 2, 3 blocks over. People aren't going to be driving in from Summerlin or Cudjoe or Key West to dump in this area here. Generally what's happening, it's a neighbor 1, 2 blocks over, is doing some reconstruction, some remodeling, or trimming trees, and doesn't want to just put it out or just get a special pickup. They load in their truck, back up and they can push at the back of the truck. If you see that, obviously we want to know. If you have a Ring doorbell camera, some security footage that may help us identify the person. Ms. Schiller knows as well. I personally have gone through trash, going through looking for an address up on Front Street as well, back to Front Street. So have my team members going through trash, looking for means to track people down. We've been pretty effective to make some good cases for dumping, but more people get away with it than don't. So as always, you have to be a second set of eyes. You're the extension of the sheriff's office, and you know what's wrong or what you see more likely before we do. So if you see something unusual, you take a picture of your phone, look at your Ring doorbell, call us, try to get a description. Don't confront people. We don't want you, getting in fights and seeing who's the baddest guy in the block. But we'd like to know if there's some means for us to track down who may have done it. And if you see it, call us right away. We'll come out. We'll work with our county representatives. Ms. Sullivan is so awesome. Waste management is so awesome to help us out. When we see these piles, we try to get them picked up. Our goal always is to try to find out who did it to stop it. If not, it's a cycle. They keep doing it. And our goal was to prevent things from being occurring. We try to be proactive. My team members are out here. I know Captain Smith told me that we proactively found some smaller piles and just took care of them. We work so good with the county. We call Kevin Wilson. He's so awesome to get this stuff picked up. Our friends at Public Works, our friends at Solid Waste. I got to say enough about the relationship. We don't know it. We can't fix it. But just try to help us help you and give us a call. I think we had a question. Or, sir, did you have your hand up too?
I just wanted to mention that I'm sure everybody's noticed the trash is
Thanks, guys.
not illegal dumping, but it's stuff that gets blown away through the neighborhood.
Okay.
You stand on the mangrove side and look across the street at the people's trash cans. They don't have tops, they're overflowing, and the raccoons get into them. And I've talked to numerous people, a couple people anyway, on Barcelona, and they just told me where to go, And that's the same thing on F Avenue. There's like 15 cars down in the middle of F Avenue.
Right.
The trash cans are always overflowing. And I ride my bicycle by and pick up stuff in the mango.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
People say, attaboy, thank you, and nobody, I've never seen anybody but myself picking up trash from the mangroves.
Well, you've seen men and women are in green uniforms, I'm sure. I know you've seen that. Yeah, I got you.
Barcelona, F Avenue,
Okay. I can't speak to that. That's not a violation of sheriff's office. That'd be something for maybe one of our trash representatives may want to talk about. But we'd have no authority if it wasn't intentional that it blew over from a can or overfill. So.
tell the neighbors where that stuff comes from.
No, intent should be someone throwing it down. Just because their garbage can overflows, we couldn't prove a violation law for an intentional act because their cans are overfilled. So I'm not pushing it. No, you raise your hand up at me, but no, I can't arrest somebody because trash blew out of the garbage can. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. The law doesn't allow me to. I have to comply with law. I don't like it. I hate trash. We're picking up trash all day long, but maybe one of our representatives may want to talk about it.
We'll let Cheryl Sullivan come up right now and talk more about garbage cans and trash. And Cynthia, I don't know if you wanted to add anything about any of the conversation yet. Are you good?
I'm good.
Okay.
I am here for questions.
Okay.
And I do want to say a little something in between anyway.
Okay, all right.
Well, I'm really short here, so we're gonna do some adjustments here. Just need to do this. There you go. I do this all the time. I got this down. So I want to thank everybody for coming and talking about such an exciting subject such as trash and illegal dumping. But before I do that, I would like to acknowledge someone. I see a few familiar faces here. Everybody in this community really needs to appreciate one individual that calls my office. We have good conversations. We try and correct problems, and that's Dickie Boyd. And he is very, he is very committed into taking care of this community that you all call home. And we've had a lot of good conversations about various things. And so, there is trash in the mangroves, there is trash in the streets, and as Sheriff Ramsey said, they really can't do a whole lot about that. My personal opinion is that the people who can really do something about it are the people in this room. And that's awarenesses at the parks. If you're having something going on at the park, put a sign up. Love your community, take care of your trash. Put it up outside of your driveway. Peer pressure will get you further than anything. And that is kind of a suggestion because we do have those people who are not responsible and they don't care. and it does impact our neighborhoods. It impacts our waterways. So much, so much. And I would like to say, standing up here, I have a wonderful relationship with the code compliance. We work on cases from Stock Island all the way to Key Largo. The Sheriff's Department are awesome. They work with me as well. And it really does take all of us to try and take care of illegal dumping. As Sheriff Ramsey said, you guys are the eyes and ears. We can't be everywhere. If you see something, say something. Some of the biggest illegal dumps and offenders that we have been able to prosecute. There are some sitting in jail right now, and there is one gentleman who actually is providing community service hours, picking up illegal trash on Stock Island as part of his service hours. I contacted the state attorney's office and I said, if he is given community service hours, can you request him to work with my department and pick up trash? So now he is having to pick up some of the stuff that he illegally dumped. And he got 150 hours of community service, so he's helping to clean up Stock Island. You guys are the eyes and ears. If you see something, let us know. Take a picture of a license plate. You don't have to confront him, like the sheriff said. If you've got a picture of a license plate and you see it taking place, call the sheriff's department, provide them with that information, and they will address it. They will look at it. If it's something that is a neighbor, call my office. The information is on the Monroe County Solid Waste website. There's multiple numbers out there, multiple contacts. We will do our investigation. I will send staff out to look at it. I will look at the pictures you sent, and I will then send it to code compliance. If it is something that waste management can assist us with, I will also send them pictures, and they will assist county staff. So we really do work together to try and keep your community as clean as possible, but we also need your help. So, questions? Yes, ma'am.
So if we do an organized group, which you see a lot of people in here do care about their community.
Mm-hmm.
So if, say, Christy gets involved, she's in charge of the neighborhood Facebook,
Mhm.
she puts out there an actual day. Is there a way that we can get the county to be involved to help with like the trash bags and the organization of putting the group together to provide for the pickup day? So if we contact you, would you be able to provide us with the tools that we need?
What I request is we do have community groups that contact my office and contact me all the time. We will assist with the community cleanups, but there are some guidelines. Some of those guidelines are you need to let me know 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time, a month ahead of time, when you're going to schedule that. How many people you think are going to be involved. And I need to give you the guidelines, because the guidelines for the county is not to for a community group to clean up people taking trash out of their shed that they've been meaning to take to the transfer station. And, oh, we're having a cleanup day. Here, let me scooch this out there. The county will take care of if you are cleaning up on the right-of-ways or you are cleaning up along the waterways. We'd be more than glad to help pick that up after the event and take it to the transfer station with no charge to that group. But we do have to follow the guidelines, and I do have to have one person in contact that's going to relay that information to that group. So just if you'll just reach out, contact me, and we'll definitely coordinate something. Yes, sir.
A brush question.
Brush.
Obviously, we've got brush days that you can put brush out in trash cans for pickup.
Correct.
But if you have like large limbs and things like that that you need to get rid of, and it's a big pain to try and stuff them all in a trash can, is there a procedure for calling for a bulk trash or bulk brush pickups? Or is it illegal to put them on the side of the road? If you could create a pile of brush like that, will the county come by and pick it up?
No, the county is not in the business of picking up residential brush. We do have our haulers, our franchise haulers, such as Waste Management in the Lower Keys, and they will pick up your normal residential yard waste. If you have large limbs that's come down, if you have large limbs that you have cut down, you can, in fact, cut those down. You can contact Waste Management, and they will come out with a clam truck. They will bill you, because that is considered normal residential maintenance on your property. That's not just lawn clippings and brush clippings and palm fronds that fall. That's actual maintenance to your property. So that is your responsibility. They can do it. They will come out. They'll look at your stack of limbs or your little stack of logs, and they'll say it's going to cost X. Correct, Greg? And you can decide to pay them, and they'll come out with the claw truck, and they'll pick it up. You'll pay them. Or you can take it to the transfer station if you've got a pickup truck or the means, and you can pay the tipping fee there at the transfer station. Does that answer your question? Okay. Anyone else? Greg, did you want to add anything?
No,
Or Cynthia?
I think the brush question was a great question, and what gets frustrating sometimes, you see people just put stuff on the side of the road. In Big Coppitt, we're pretty fortunate because we have a lot of regular homeowners here, but when you see a move out or a vacation rental, those are the culprits that just put stuff out on the side of the road and they don't seem to care. But here, I would venture to say that you folks do a great job by, you have something extra, you call us, we come out, we give you an estimate, we take it away, or if it's a couch or a chair. And also, if someone does put like a refrigerator or a couch out, call the office. Those single items are at no charge, and we want to get them off the street so they don't become a hazard. Or what we see happen is somebody will put out a couch, and then 2 days later, there's 5 TVs, 3 refrigerators, a pile of yard waste, 2 boat motors, and a trailer. So, and I know Mr. Boyd is great. We talk all the time as well to help us do that. So, but I think Cheryl covered it well, and thank you very much for anything you do. We're not perfect. We try our best every day, and we do encourage people as far as the litter goes. Tell your neighbors, bag their garbage, or we all hate these single-use plastic bags from the grocery store. Stuff them full of garbage so they don't blow away, and put them in your can, and that'll help prevent litter. And I think you had a question.
So if somebody does dump on the right of way, say a refrigerator, a boat trailer, anything, who do we call? Do we call you or do we call code?
If it's a single appliance, you can call us. If it's a trailer or some type of vehicle without proper authorization from the sheriff's department, we don't have the right to pick it up. If it's your trailer and you want to get rid of it, you can call us up and say, hey, this is my trailer, take it. But without proper authorization for a titled vehicle or trailer, we need authorization from the sheriff.
If you think it's been dumped, something's been dumped.
It has no registration, no nothing. It's literally dumped.
We have 2 out there right
Two out there right now.
Come and look at it as an abandoned vehicle and tag it and.
So it got tagged with a 5/8 tag a month ago.
All right, let the captain know again or the sergeant way out, go by, inspect, they live there, see what we can do about it. But yeah, someone puts the refrigerator out for pickup, call Waste Management, don't call us, we won't pick up refrigerator. But if it's something appears to be dumped or abandoned, call us and we'll see what we can do. And if it's in our wheelhouse, we'll take care of it. If not, we'll try to get the right wheelhouse.
Thank you.
Couple other hands. Yes, ma'am.
Is it true that if you have like a lot of things that you want picked up and you call and you pay for it, you're only allowed 1 time a year? Is that true, or can you do it?
So you said 2 different things. So if you have a lot of items, then that would be considered more than a couch and a chair or more than a washer and dryer. As an example, you're cleaning out your house because you're going to remodel it. That is something that you would have to pay for, removal. Yes, yes. Yes, you can. Yes, yes. But, it is monitored, and believe it or not, we have people that will abuse that. They will have, as an example, a landlord has someone that moves out of their home, and Greg's had people play this game on him. They'll call and say, I've got a bulk pickup. So Greg goes out and picks it up. It's considered at no charge. 2 weeks later, now the refrigerator and couch are out there. A week after that, they call, and the bed's out there, and other items. So what they're doing is they're doing a whole house clean out. That's not fair. It's not fair for the taxpayers of Monroe County. It's not fair for Waste Management, and they do monitor those things. So there are times that I have to get involved and push back and say, no, Waste Management is not going to come out there and pick that up for free. That is your responsibility now. So back over here first, and then we'll go.
Old garbage cans that need to be discarded, they've got holes in them or something like that. How do I get rid of them? Because I'll put them out front and there's holes in them, and, you know, it's like it's very obvious it's destroyed and it just stays.
No, that's a excellent question. No, it's not. So, we wrestle with that because what we ask you to do is call us, because we don't want to leave it to discretion, because what might be an old junk garbage can to you might not be to somebody else. So if the driver, God bless the drivers, if they take the can, it might be somebody's can that they've, I had a person in Big Pine that the guy was a great guy, and he had this garbage can for 23 years. So, but we don't want to tell the driver, use your own discretion, because, so if you have one, call, or if it's that bad, you can kind of fold it up and put it in another can, we'll take it, but we don't want to just, because everybody's got a little different opinion of a bad can. Well, you know, it might say take me, but if you don't put it in Creole, they don't know it.
Question back over here.
Is there a time frame? In Big Coppitt, there's a gentleman has a couple rental units, and one of them just keep on throwing the trash over the fence and starts piling up. This garbage, bed frames, beds, boat motors, and stuff like that. And then this piles up over the fence, and pisses off all the neighbors, and it gets bigger and bigger. They're renters, they don't care. The landlord really doesn't care until we start talking to him and writing him letters and stuff like that. And I don't know who picks it up, but every once in a while when Greg's truck comes by, he picks it up. But how long does it have to stay there before we make a phone call?
Well, that is one thing that I think Cynthia McPherson can address. We had a similar situation like that on Stock Island 2 or 3 months ago, where we had people doing something very similar. The owner did not live here. He had not really a renter, but someone that was utilizing his home. It was a big mess. So Cynthia, you want to?
Thank you very much. I've got to scoot, but, all right, one more? Yes, ma'am.
Many of my friends and neighbors say that recycle doesn't get recycled, it just gets dumped in one trash. I'm a big recycler. Can you just quickly address that?
Well,
Oh, go ahead.
sure. I'll take one more minute. It does get recycled. We've taken folks up to our recycling plant.
I've been there.
She's been there. Cheryl's been there. It goes to a plant up in Fort Lauderdale. You can Google it. It's Reuters, R-E-U-T-E-R-S, recycling. It's got a little video on it, of course. And actually, on the county website, I think that plays. Even it's a waste management promotional, so I'll apologize in advance. You're going to see some, waste management advertising, but it does. If it's in the blue bin and there's no plastic bags in it, it gets picked up. Now, the one confusion is all the trucks look the same. So somebody can say it's a garbage truck. Well, it is, but it's picking up recycling. Or on certain days, it's picking up yard waste. And we make every effort and take great pains to take them in. And we work with Cheryl, and everything comes in, it gets weighed properly, goes out properly. So if it's in the right bin, we recycle it.
And just to give you clarification on that, so when his waste management truck on recycling day picks up the recycling, it comes into the transfer station. And if you've ever been to the transfer station, there's an area set aside for household trash. And the best way for me to describe that is stinky, you gotta hold your nose, okay? That's where the household stuff goes. There's another area away from that where all the recycling goes. And that's when Greg's trucks come in and haul it out. And they do take it to the recycling center. So it is a myth. We do recycle. There's a recycling coordinator and outreach person, Melody Tuschel. She does outreach programs. If you're ever having a community event here in Big Coppitt and you would like her to come in and talk to you about recycling, the correct way to do it, please contact her. Her email address is on our website, or I can give it to you after this meeting. But yes, we do recycle. We encourage it. It saves the county money. It saves you as a taxpayer money when it is recycling. But I wanted Cynthia to address this gentleman's complaint or his concern over here about codes and how, if that is happening, what you can do and how Cynthia can help maybe clean that up or address it with the owner.
Thank
you.
very much. Take care.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cynthia McPherson, Senior Director for Code Compliance. I got to get taller. I'm going to tip it over. I'm sorry, I didn't see who asked that question. I was back to, okay, thank you. The Code Compliance Department cites property owners. So as I understand your question, it's a property owner who may have a tenant that's creating the issue. Once a complaint is called into us, we would be citing the property owner. So typically, property owners may be absent and have no idea that this is happening with a tenant. So once we formally notice the property owner, it usually gets cleaned up. I'm going to leave my cards on the back, and it's my direct line, so if anyone has any issues like that, please feel free to give me a call. I want to step back a little bit. As everyone spoke this evening, code compliance touches just about every little bit of this whole thing, and we're known as the complaint department, as you probably know. So I want to address the parking. The Code Compliance Department receives complaints, and you all are probably aware of our software. It's called Community Plus. You can go on and search out by address about your complaint and see what's going on. The thing with issues on the right-of-way, there's not a person, an address to associate it to. So many people file complaints and they can't find the results. They don't think we're doing anything because they can't search an address and find it. We have dummy addresses, if you will, that we do all of our right-of-way code work on. Those are the times that you will need to call one of us. As Kristen said, our numbers are in the book, but we will look it up and tell you what's going on. With abandoned vehicles, things that are parked, we work closely with the Sheriff's Department. But what we do first is go to the area where the complaint is. And most often when you do register a complaint, if you give us a bit of a description of where you're talking about, across from your address, at the corner of two streets, some idea of where the issue is. Once we look at that, we determine it's abandoned. It has no tag on it. It looks like it's a derelict vehicle. We will tag it with a yellow tag. Our tags are yellow. And we will put a number of days. Typically, it's 5 to 7 days. And then when we come back, if it's still there, we turn it over to the Sheriff's Department. And then they move forward with their enforcement. On our tags, we do indicate that if you don't move this, it will be towed. And if it is your neighbor and it is something, normally those will disappear. But that's our process. And we have a distinction between parking and storing. So parking, as the sheriff said, is allowed. Storing a vehicle is not allowed. And we use a 72-hour window to determine if it's stored or not. So we do have to go back and forth a couple of times to determine if that vehicle has moved or not. The inspectors that are assigned to Big Coppitt are out of the Marathon office. So it isn't something that you can call and say, something's going on and someone needs to come now. We unfortunately do not have that ability. However, I have a brand new officer in the Marathon office, which is going to increase the activity in the lower keys, which I'm very excited about. Trash is the same way. You know, give us a call. We'll look at it, see if we can associate it with the property owner and a property address. We're going to cite them first, and then hopefully it will get removed. We work with Cheryl and Greg to get those quotes for the pickup, and sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it takes, you know, weeks, but we do get it done. I know it seems like a painfully slow process, but it does work at the end. one thing that people don't understand is that when they file a complaint and we cite the property owner and we go through our legal processes, it doesn't always result in compliance. I just met the Boyds this afternoon, and they're a prime example of that. They filed a complaint. Our department cited the property owner. The property owner didn't comply. We went to our special magistrate hearing, which we have once a month. They were found in violation. They were given a compliance date. They did not comply by the compliance date ordered by the judge. We filed a lien on the property. Still no results. The next step is another hearing to go to collections, and then beyond that, of course, it goes to the county commission for further litigation. So all of that process is all timed with, 30 days here, 90 days here before we can move to the next step. It's a long process. So when you have questions about something that doesn't appear to be moving along, please give me a call, and I will definitely research and get it moved forward. Just quickly, the process of filing a complaint, you may know now we do not accept anonymous complaints. So it is all by state statute. You must give your name and address. Unless it's an environmental issue, if you see land clearing, you see tree removal, that is an exemption to that law. Another one is, the only other one is if it's an unsafe condition. If you see a building that is unsafe, that's an exemption. So please keep that in mind. The process right now is right online. You go to our website, you go to the Code Compliance Department, there's a little link there to file a code complaint. We are moving forward into new software. We have started internally. It will be rolling out into the public in a few months, where you register online and file your complaints, and it comes directly to either the Key Largo office or the Marathon office, and then an inspector will be disseminated from that. We started this soft rollout in December, so if you're looking in the old system, in Community Plus or MCE Search, and you don't see any code activity since the 17th of December, that's because we're in the new system. Not that we're not doing anything, we're out there, but it's in the new system and you just can't see it yet. If you're interested in a property that you filed a complaint on, a public records request will certainly give that to you, or please call me. I answer these questions all the time. With that, I'll take any questions that you might have. Yes, sir?
I said, I think you might have answered my question, but I want to make really sure.
Sure.
Derelict homes.
Mm-hmm.
Within a 5-iron of this building, there are two. One that's been empty and rather offensive for decades.
Okay.
The other uninhabitable, the roof is caved in. So the only way something gets done about those is if somebody reports it. Is that correct?
Well, not necessarily, but that's a good way to bring it to our attention. I would definitely, love to look at those addresses and see if we were doing something already. Because again, things don't always get repaired. But with that type of a complaint, we accept the complaints, we go to the site, we take our pictures, but those are referred to the building official. And it's up to the building official to determine if they have unsafe conditions. That process is a little lengthy. He determines that it is unsafe and actually documents each individual component that is unsafe. The property owner will get a letter. It's timed. It's typically a 30-day window that he allows for someone to contact him to give him what they're planning to do. He can continue to work with them as long as they're moving forward. When he feels that no one has resolved it or reached out to him, then he will refer it back to the code department for enforcement. But he's the first step with an unsafe building that makes that determination. And then if it comes back to us, and sometimes it's months, then we go through our regular process. We would cite the property owner, it would go to hearing, and we would get a finding with a compliance date, and then move along in that regard. If it got to the fullest extent, like we got to the commission, they have the authority to approve demolition. And I have a budget, that's one line in my budget that I fund with the commission for demolition, for unsafe demolition. So we've done a couple of those, but most often the property owners decide to do it themselves, because when we do it, we lien the property for the costs, and it's much less expensive for them to do it than it is for the county to do it. But we have done that before. So if you have addresses, I'll take one of my cards and give me the address. I'll be glad to look it up for you. Yes? Yeah.
Are there any rules regarding having chicken coops and such in people's backyards in residential neighborhoods?
So chickens are an interesting topic. Yes, Chapter 4 of our code is about livestock, and chickens are in the definition of livestock. They cannot be penned or loose. So a chicken coop, if you will, is considered a structure, and it is not allowed. We have had cases in this regard.
I hate to ask, but my neighbors are wonderful. I love them. They're fantastic. I don't even want to call them. I don't even want to call them and complain about it.
Typically, it's the roosters that are the problem. It's not the chickens. But you also, some people have chickens that aren't cooped. And the difficulty for us is to determine who they belong to. Because again, we're citing property owners. It's difficult when you have free roaming chickens to see who owns them. But Michelle, I know, has it.
I know, I was gonna say, I've been hesitating. How did you get that thing to? Wow. I've been hesitating to bring this to a county commission meeting, but I've had several pockets of people throughout the unincorporated county wanting us to change our ordinance and allow chickens in coops, but only 3, no roosters, and to make it so that people can eat the eggs. So I've been hesitating on bringing it to our commission because I know when I hear it from all ends and all sides of those who want them and those who don't. But I've been doing research on this, and I do believe within the next couple of months, I will be bringing it to the other commissioners for a discussion. How's that for just diving into the deep end without a life jacket?
And we may need a chicken inspector after this, another inspector.
I found that after COVID, oh, absolutely, it would be, and that's what my research is doing right now, it would be a specific number that you would be only allowed to have, and definitely no roosters, and it would have to be in the coop. But we found during COVID, so many individual people were relying on the eggs that they were getting from their illegal chickens, and they wanted to make them legal. But again, there's going to be as many people, same with the sidewalks and same with speed humps. It's like when I'm ready to gear up and choose this battle, I'm going to do it. But I'm still gathering my research on areas that do allow them and how they've done it in such a way that isn't a nuisance to every other neighbor in their neighborhood.
So you're going to cap it at 72 chickens per household?
Yeah, a chicken in every pot. There, I just aged myself. Did you have anything else that you wanted?
I can see that being an enforcement nightmare.
Yeah, it would be. I know, it would be. Which is again why I'm hesitating to do it.
At what age does a chick become a chicken?
I don't know. See, I'm still doing all my research on all of that. I have greatly appreciated everybody being here today, and I feel like this is just the first of many conversations that we're going to have. And whenever you all decide to organize your garbage day cleaning up of the mangroves, let Jen and me know. When you let Cheryl know to get the date I would love to be, if I'm in town and not working at something else, I would love to be there. I know the sheriff's department helps with a lot of trash cleanups too. We absolutely love helping neighborhoods do that. So thank you for that. I believe we'll also have to have some more follow-up discussions on sidewalks, where we would have them versus not, to respect the right of people who do need a place to park their trailer or whatever it is that they have. So again, you always want to make sure that one solution doesn't cause a whole lot of other problems. But these are conversations that I think we'll be continuing to have. I do have on our list ROGO Hurricane Modeling Update. Raise of hand of anyone in the room who is aware of the fact that the state of Florida is allowing us to revisit how many building permits we could give out. I love seeing this. Kristen, you need to stand up here with me for this part of the conversation. So the state of Florida, you know, as you all know, we have a rate of growth ordinance in our county because we are an area of critical state concern where we can only grow so much because of our hurricane evacuation model, one road in, one road out, our sensitive environment, having to balance all of this. And we're pretty much at the end of all of the building permits that the unincorporated has. And also the municipalities there, I know the city of Marathon are at their end. They don't have any more. And the governor's cabinet and Department of Commerce in November presented 5 scenarios that the county can look at. And one of them is, you're at growth, this is it. You're now gonna have a lot of legal takings cases where people who have land that they've been paying taxes on are going to be able to sue the county and possibly the state and say, you have to give me money because you've now taken my right away from me using my property. And so we have where we can take 0 all the way up to taking, they threw out a number, 8,000 units for our county, countywide. So we have been working now with the Department of Commerce, with all the municipalities, to try to get on the same page of what we feel we should do, whether it's taking one for each of the lots that we now have determined are buildable, and I think we got that number down to 3,000, which is a lot smaller than the 8,000 that the Department of Commerce originally gave us. So we've whittled that already down to 3,000. We also need to have a discussion, though, about workforce housing units, because that doesn't take into consideration if we want any more apartment complexes, or if we want any duplexes or any other areas where we would build housing for our workforce. So these are discussions that the county commissioners, we don't want to make this decision on our own. We want to invite every neighborhood. We want to get out in front of as many people as we possibly can. So Kristen and Kevin and Kimberly Matthews, our strategic planner, we're going to be starting workshops, and we want to go to every homeowners association. We would love to be able to use the church again and have a neighborhood meeting with you all so that you can give us your thoughts after we give you a presentation on what's our legal liability, what's our safety, how would we do this, do we have the infrastructure to match it? If we do accept any of these units, it'll be a slow rollout, just like we have been doing, so it's not too big of an impact. But what we really need is the input of our entire community. And so I'm gonna let Kristen explain right now where the website is for you all to all find the website, and then what our next steps are in the next couple of months.
Sure. Thank you, Kristen. So we are in the beginning stages of this. If you go to the website, and it's not in the book because this actually just came up not too long ago, but if you go to Monroe County's website, /ROGO, ROGO 2024, we started laying out presentations and information on the rate of growth ordinance and how this state of critical state concern that we live in, whether or not we can continue to keep building or not building. We have Kimberly Matthews is setting up right now community meetings, as Michelle just said, and those are going to start taking place in May, June, July, and then by the end of December is when we're hoping to bring this back to after we get all this input from all of our community members, including online surveys and the meeting with people and different groups, go back to them in December with some actual information that, hey, we want this many or we don't want any or something along those lines. So,
Thank you.
all right.
Thank you.
But if you guys don't follow our Facebook page, it's Monroe County BOCC, and I put all of that information, including like these meetings and stuff like that on there as well. So,
Thank you. Does anyone have any more questions? Yes, ma'am.
We all agree we need workforce housing. This is one of the few affordable neighborhoods. They're building all over it, all these new housing all over, very little affordable. We have fish dying and spinning. We have Marathon wastewater system is polluting the waters. We have our water system is failing. So I hope you're taking that all into consideration before you give out any new units, and particularly anything that's not workforce housing or affordable housing.
Yes, ma'am. And that is one of the specific questions we're asking is, how is our infrastructure? How can we meet the needs of additional human beings in the community? And that absolutely is what we're also taking into consideration. So good point, good question. And that is, again, why we really want the input of everyone in our community. I will say that I'm actually going to a seminar Thursday, the Bonefish Tarpon Trust are coming in town, and I'm going to be at the seminar they're putting on at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to learn a little bit more about what's going on there. There was one other point you just made, and I was going to say something, and I can't remember what it was. But yeah, we're working with the municipalities, with wastewater, with the Florida Keys Aqueduct Authority, with all of the different organizations that aren't part of the county but definitely provide our services, and we're taking all of that into consideration. Yes, ma'am.
I might have misunderstood. When you were saying like the Monroe County offices, like where everybody works, that you guys are in Key Largo and Marathon, how come there isn't an office down here in the lower keys if you guys make decisions for the lower keys?
So we have 3 county government buildings. We have one in Key Largo, one in Marathon, and one in Key West. Most counties only have one government center, but because we're so spread apart, we do have 3, and that's where we conduct our county commission meetings. I will say, though, that we're all spread out as well. I know in Big Pine, my office is in Big Pine. We also have a tax collector office in the same square that I'm in. We also have the Big Pine Library. And now at the community center that's also there, we have our building department has a little micro office. So we try to be everywhere. We have one in Stock Island as well. So even though we have 3 government centers where we hold our county commission meetings, we try to be everywhere. It's so hard when you have a 120-mile linear island to be able to be in front of everyone. We also, though, all of our county commission meetings are live with Zoom, and you have the capability of just going on your internet if you don't want to drive to a meeting, but you're really interested in what we're saying because our meetings are so exciting, says no one ever, but you can watch the meeting via Zoom and even raise your virtual hand and address the audience. Rogo, one more thing about the conversation that came to me, what I wanted to remind myself to say. At every one of our county commission meetings now, we are going to do an update, a monthly update on how we are addressing workforce housing, how we're addressing the infrastructure needs, how we're working with our attorney's office on what they think our liability for the whole county would be. If we have lots that don't get a permit, how much money is that going to cost the taxpayers? So we are working on all of that. Also, one more thing I wanted to say about that is vacation houses. Because the state of Florida preempted us, our county can no longer tweak our vacation rental laws. We can no longer say, oh, you're building a new house, you have to make it for residential use only. We can't do that. We have to allow anybody the right to vacation rental their home if it's zoned in the proper area. We're frustrated as a county. I know other counties are. That's the state of Florida. That's like one level above us. We work ferociously every legislative session. We go, we march in there, and we're like, look, we're different, we're unique. Please let us change our rule. And so far, they haven't let us. We think right now is a golden opportunity, because as we are going to go in December and say, here's what we think we want to do for our county, I believe it might give us an opportunity to open up our vacation rental law, change it a little, or my hope is whatever units we accept, we somehow can safeguard those so they can be for residential homes that are year-round to homeowners that want to live here or who want to rent long-term to keep our families here. So with that, yes, sir.
I have a hurricane question you may not know the answer to yet. The My Safe Florida Home Program have been talking about the fact that it's being refunded to the tune of $200 million and that they're bringing in condominiums. Has there been any legislation that's passed recently that is going to allow people that own rental properties to use the My Safe Florida Home Program to improve the hurricane resiliency for long-term rentals? No, ma'am, it's been discussed but hasn't been passed.
No, sir. It's been discussed, but it has not been passed. Thank you, Kevin. Anyone else? I greatly, yes, sir.
Quick question, I don't know if you can answer this, but on Big Coppitt, 2nd Street, at the end of it, old boat ramp, fence, concrete barriers. Is there any way we can take the fence down to make it a perfect spot for taking a dog, kayaking, and stuff like that? And the fence has been up, and it used to be open years and years ago, but that's been blocked for many, many years. It looks horrible, too. It's like a little community.
And it's at the end of what street? 2nd Street. Give me your number and my staff is going to look into it and we'll get an answer for you and we'll get back with you on it.
Take the fence down, keep the cement barriers there. That way people use it anyway, but it's very hard to get to.
They got the same situation at the end of 4th Street, down by the cemetery. There's a fence there and mangroves, but you could park boat trailers there. I don't think it gets wet, you know? I don't know.
We'll look into it. Everyone, thank you so much for coming out this evening. I greatly appreciate you all. That was fun. No, I love it. I love it.